Well, the chairman of the National Conscience Party, Alhaji Yinusa Tanko, is still with us, and we were answering some questions just before we went on break. I think we should go back to Sulaiman. I don't think he's finished his line of thought.
Thank you very much, Mark. Alhaji Tanko, the thing is, you were talking about a messed up process, a messed up system concerning the appointment of judges, assuming without even conceding some of those that are already in the spotlight now. Let's start looking at the messed up system you talked about. You were trying to tell us about how some of them got in there. Let's look at how they emerge and the processes they go through, because for some they still have to go through the National Assembly. Are you saying that with all of this in place, we still haven't been able to put in place a check system that can actually put a stop to anyone with some question mark on his character or competence?
Yes, I say this with all sense of responsibility, because when you look at the system of appointment, how did they come about being judges in the Federal High Court and up to the Supreme Court, you want to question it. It seems to me that sometimes the majority of them getting to that particular level must have served one particular person in government or outside government. So those are the people who nominate them to this particular position before they are even screened at the National Assembly and all whatnot. So the process needs to be more clearer, so that when it's been done like that, people who have impeccable character can come in and be judges, so that we will not have this problem, so that they can also not be couched by anybody. Because you can see back and front now, there have been kind of a accusation from the judges that are being hauled and then in a Gestapo manner. Some of them are fighting back and saying ABC must have tried to corrupt me, or that I didn't do what he wanted me to do, and that is the reason why I did A, B, and C. So you see, there has been an issue of how did they get to that particular position, and that created a lot of gap and then giving room for corrupt tendencies. So that is the reason why I'm saying that the system is messed up in such a manner that gives room for any kind of things to go through. But we need to find a new method in which the judges, the way they are being appointed, giving them more credibility, so that nobody can, at least, even if there's going to be kind of infusion of corruption, at least let it be very minimal that the NGS can correct.
Well, I haven't seen, I mean, if you read the accounts of some of the judges in question here, and how it does suggest that they seem to wine and dine with those who they ought not to. Give us your other suggestions, how you think we can actually go ahead and fight corruption in the judiciary.
Well, first of all, there was a time in which we were trying to make the judges so comfortable, making sure in terms of their salaries and everything that has to do with their remuneration is being taken care of. But then that actually may not be the final solution to the problem. Maybe we should look at actually the way in which, as I mentioned earlier, the way in which they are appointed. The appointment, of course, has to do with clarity of the way in which each of these judges have served over the years. Have they been clean in the way in which they administer their judgment? And is there any history? Do they have any baggages? And if these things have been clearly taken care of, then we can say probably if subject them to positions, we are sure that they will not be corrupted. But eventually, the thing is this: every person has to know one other person or the other, and that creates a lot of synergy, where people can say, okay, let me be the one that helped in making you what you want to be. So there's this kind of leverage of say, I was the one that assisted. So if I have a problem, you will have to play to my own gallery. This has to be checked very quickly. Otherwise, we will still have the same situation in which we are having at the moment.
All right, then, Yinusa Tanko, we appreciate your coming on the show this morning. We'll have to hand over to Mark Pesio, who can take it from there afterwards.
Oh, thank you, Chamberlain. Just quickly, you know, I'm not quite certain as to whether or not we're wrapping up, but, you know, in conclusion,
yes,
you know, to your thoughts, you've talked about the appointment processes, you've talked about, but as it stands, 7 judges have been arrested and they have been granted bail. There's been the, you know, quarrel of whether or not they should step aside. Do you think that they should step aside, or do you think it's okay for them to keep presiding over cases?
No. There's this big question mark on their credibility. And that gives you a room to doubt even whatever they make judgments on issues. So I think they should step aside, and then so that they can allow the system to work perfectly well. But you see, the danger in this is that we are so much afraid that the last hope of the common man, which is the judges, if that institution is not quickly cleansing in a way that will give credibility to the system, where we will not perceive that probably there's a vindictiveness in the process, which some of the many people have been accusing this government of. So it is done in a manner that everybody will feel that, yes, this is done cleanly because of the interests of the judicial institution. People will, of course, respect it. But if it's done in a manner in which they are being caged so that they will not be able to do freely their work, then it becomes dangerous. We need to be mindful of how we act and what we do.
So we'll definitely see how this matter will proceed in the coming days. But Alhaji Yinusa Tanko, we must thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily. He's the chairman of the National Conscience Party. Sunrise Daily continues in just a moment. Do stay with us.
Thank you very much.